Hey everyone, it's Casimus Lego, and today I'm going to be showing you 3 brand new custom Lego minifigures just in time for the grand finale of the Obi-Wan Kenobi series. And in this video is Obi-Wan Kenobi himself, the third sister, aka Reva Savander, aka the best character in the show obviously, and Rupert Friend's portrayal of the Grand Inquisitor. And I made all 3 of these throughout each installment premiere of the 6-part prequel series to A New Hope. And if this intro didn't give it away, I have extremely mixed feelings of the show so far. I went into this with so much excitement, which I knew was a bad idea, but I couldn't wait to see Ewan McGregor back in the role as Obi-Wan and seeing how a young Luke Skywalker was going to play into the story. But of course, the show was never really about Luke, and instead we got young Leia, which in itself isn't terrible, but I didn't want the show to focus on her, and then Canon from my favorite film of all time, A New Hope, was put into question, and things just kind of fell apart for me. I loved the first episode and most of the second part, but as the series went on, I was more and more disappointed with the direction of the show. And I mean, it hurts to say that, it really does. I know so many people enjoy what it's done, and I wish I could join them, but Star Wars, the plot, the characters, the story, all mean so much to me, and to see it so mistreated, and then the people that make it, they go and attack us when we don't appreciate what they've done over and over again, it hurts, and I'm tired of seeing this happen. I don't understand how this happens, but it does, and a lot of us Star Wars fans just have to take it, and it just needs to stop. But I don't want this to turn into a rant, so I'll stop there. I'm hoping that my opinion of the show changes after I watch the finale later tonight, and maybe it will, maybe it won't. However, despite how I feel about the show itself, I still wanted to make these figures for this event, and they're all really well done, some of my best work of the year in fact, and I'm really looking forward to showing them to you. So with all of that out of the way, let's get started. Starting off with Obi-Wan Kenobi, the return of Ewan McGregor. So exciting as a Star Wars fan, a lifelong Star Wars fan, and it was really great to see him in this role once again, and this was a really fun figure to make, I will say that, and it was mainly because of the new techniques I tried with fabric trench coats. One detail that you can see right over here, which is kind of inspired by Aaron Lego Mag 9, is the little bit of a concave over here, and that's because of that pouch on the belt. I wanted to make sure that I could include that detail without the fabric trench coat bunching up in that area and sticking out. I wanted to make sure it looked clean, so that's kind of inspired by that. There's also another Lego Mag 9 inspired detail up at the top. The pieces that are, I guess, go over the torso, those are also, if I can remove the figure, I'll show you better. Look at it, they go around it, which is also really cool. That was really difficult to get right. I had to make sure that I got the fabric on the inside and it goes to the back, and then the back of the robe there, the hood, pretty much drapes over all that. It's very similar to how I make other fabric capes and all that, so it worked out really well in Obi-Wan's favor here. He's got a pair of pavement legs, and these are electrical tape bands that go around the sides to make the wraps there, and then the boots are nicely painted, and then the rest of this is actually a fabric little sheet, and it's one long piece that goes over the torso and extends down to the legs, and then these pieces are three-dimensional on top, and they have their own painted details. The lightsaber here, which is removable if I remove it out of the hand, which is terrifying to do because it's painted, but this was another really cool piece. This is of course the Lego Mag 9 sculpted and casted by Nate Minifigs. This is his lightsaber. I got this a year ago, back when you could still readily order it readily available from him, but yeah, it's nicely painted. I had to make sure that I left room for the hand to grip into the grip, otherwise the paint would scratch off, so there is just an excess where the original molding color used to be, but the rest of it is really nice, and it's painted in a fabric, so, well, my bad, painted in a sealant, not fabric, so you don't really notice it. And then the lightsaber that sticks out is, of course, a standard Lego element that really works well in his favor, so I'll go ahead and move the arm down a little bit. There's some sculpting on the sleeves, particularly down here. This is just something I do with a lot of the robes that I paint, but I painted these, the insides of the tunic to continue that little design, and these are sculpted, of course. And he has these kind of sleeves, if you look on several reference photos, he has those details, so that's just a sculpted ring around each one, and then I smooth it over to form the little nice slope there, so that looks really great. A lot of the detail went into the painted head. That's a fully painted head to resemble the Ewan McGregor likeness, and I think it came out really really nice. The beard is sculpted, and I know that that's something that I battled with originally because I wasn't sure if I should paint it or sculpt it, but I really like the look of thin sculpted beards, and so this actually was a nightmare to make. It started out as a much thicker piece, and then I sanded it down. I'll show some photos on the screen now of what it used to look like, but it was just really thick and blotchy, and then I took some sandpaper and sanded it down and then sculpted the mustache piece up here to connect it with the beard, and then painted it in a chestnut, dry brushed it with some nugget brown, and then it kind of came together. The likeness was already painted onto the head. That's completely painted, and then the hair piece is the Seinfeld mullet hair piece that LEGO introduced, I believe, a year or two ago. It's fairly new in their catalog, and I thought this would be a great hair piece, a base hair piece to use, and then that's painted in a nutmeg brown with a dark brown wash over it, and then the sideburns are painted in gray, but he's got a mole up here too, which I thought was cool, and then the eye wrinkles there's a lot of wrinkles on the eyes, but overall, it turned out to be a really great minifigure. I'm really happy with this one. I'm going to go ahead and attempt to get the lightsaber back in his hand, so give me a second as I bump the camera. I'm going to slide this in right in here and hope I don't shatter anything. There we go. Yeah, that's Obi-Wan Kenobi, and really nice minifigure. Next is the third sister, or Reva Savander. And as kind of mentioned by the intro of this video, I have mixed feelings on this character as well. And it has nothing to do with the actress herself. It's obviously not that. It's just, her acting in the actual show, her direction with the character, it didn't work well for me, and one of the most annoying parts of the character was the fact that we were in the 4th episode of a 6-part series, and we still almost knew nothing really about her past, about her motivations, what she really wanted. None of that was clear until episode 5, which in my mind still didn't really even, save the character in my eyes. It still just was kind of disappointing, but, at least she has a backstory, which we all assumed it was going to be. She was a youngling during the Order 66 siege, but, at least she has motivations, she has a backstory, unlike some Disney Star Wars villains, and that's at least, a saving grace. But that ultimately made the figure, actually making the figure was not as fun as I would have hoped. Especially if the character was better, then it would have been much more fun. But it as it was just kind of a drag. But it still turned out really nice. The painted head, that's just a standard head that I modified, and then the hairpiece is a Valkyrie hairpiece, I believe. And the way that I was able to get away with doing the braids was that I simply just painted them onto the head. It's not the most elegant solution, but it's fine. It works really well. And then the rest of it is also really nicely painted. I kind of made the glossy look of the suit by using dark gray lines on the base of a black torso, which I think came out really well. The belt is 3D as well as that piece in the center of the belt itself. The legs had their own really nice set of painted details, which I think came out really nice. And then also the arms over here, she's got bracelets. Not bracelets, she's got brackets, my bad. And then the pieces over here, those are the gauntlets, those are electrical tape, as well as the pieces that are on top of the shoulders, which is the exact same technique that I did for Fennec Shand, because she has a very similar set of those. And then on this arm, there's also the Imperial logo, which is painted in there, if you can kind of see it, which is maybe a bit obstructed by the glue residue, which is disappointing, but that came out really nice. Some of the most intricate paintwork of the year so far, those little Imperial logos. And then the Inquisitor lightsaber is actually the original Inquisitor lightsaber hilt piece that LEGO came out with many years ago, which is, thankfully they're being reprinted now, because at the time they were pretty expensive, and I modified it a lot, painted the rings across it, painted the lines onto the hilt. It just came out really nice, and then I can take it out it's very simple, not really a big deal. But there's Reva's lightsaber, painted to the best of my ability, and I would like to go ahead and actually remove the cape to show you that the legs, the paintwork on the legs do continue around the back of it. Obviously there's not any painted detail on the back of the torso though, because I didn't think it was necessary, but the legs do continue, and they came out really nice. They're painted in a metallic, which I think really pops, and it adds a lot to the minifigure. And then obviously we can drape the cape over it. But yeah, that's it for Reva. I'm really hoping that she gets a fitting conclusion, whether it's related to the leaks that have come out or is something completely unexpected. I just hope that I am fully satisfied by her character. Last but not least is Rupert Friend's Grand Inquisitor. And I don't know about you, but I was seriously convinced that he was just dead after episode 2. I of course know that he survives until Rebels, but just knowing Disney and their treatment with Canon, I was fully convinced that they just retconned it. I was pleasantly surprised to see him at the end of episode 5, overjoyed in fact, because I didn't want them to screw up the canon even though they were already doing it. Anyway, it doesn't matter. This was a great portrayal of the character. I'm so happy that I made this and that I was able to do this. As I mentioned, I was afraid that he was going to be pretty irrelevant, but thankfully he is not, and that's great. So where do I start? I guess we'll get the lightsaber out of the way because it blocks a lot of the minifigure. Similar to Reva, this is painted with and used the Inquisitor Lego hilt that the Lego came out with years ago, and it's painted in kind of a fun style just to sort of resemble the lightsaber. Not really, but it's fairly detailed on both sides. So I'll go ahead and remove that so you can see the rest. Oh, the minifigure took his arm off. That's not good. So let's go ahead and put that back together. Yeah, the rest of it is really great. I'll start at the legs, I guess. The legs have their own painted set of details, as you can see down there. I don't usually paint wrinkles onto the legs, and that's just something that it's a stylistic choice that I don't go for, but I decided to make it, to put them onto here because the legs looked very blank without some extra details, and then the shoes had their own painted details. Nothing is on the back of the torso, but the legs do continue to the back. It's just something that I do. The cape covers that, so it's not very necessary, but yeah, going up, there's some sculpting actually on the sides of the legs. I forgot to mention that, but the sculpting of the chest, that was fun because it started out as it kind of just like a circle, and then I just layer by layer really just kind of added onto it to make that detail pop. And I think it came out really nice. I added these lines onto it just as accents, so you could tell kind of where the different pieces are, and the Grand Inquisitor logo itself up there looks really nice. But sculpted shoulders over here, these are pieces that are sculpted, and he's got some 3D armbands which are made out of electrical tape, and the belt is also a amalgamation of different sculpted bits and rubber and all that, but that came really well. And then there's a lot of lining that goes all around the arms actually. If I pop off one of the arms, just for instance, you can see that it goes all the way to the back, and it's a lot of lines, but came out to be really great. I'm really happy that I was able to put them on. There's even there we go. There's even lines that continue onto the top of the torso, which I might remove the cape so you can see that a little bit better. And speaking of lines, the head, oh my gosh, the head on top, all these lines up here, that was difficult. And of course, not only trying to match Rupert Friend's likeness, but also kind of basing it off of the Lego head. That was difficult on a antique parchment, I believe. It wasn't white. I saw some references where it looked like his skin tone was a little bit different, and so I didn't want to just paint it all one color white, and plus white's just a pain to work with, so I did my own thing, and I think it came out great. These pieces are sculpted on the side, and they have their own little details, and then yeah, I'll go ahead and remove the head here so you can see the cape here, which is just a standard cape that I make. It's got red on one side, black on the other. Very simple. And then you can see the top there. There is some more details. Those are the tubes that go up, or the kind of the wiring, not wiring, whatever you call it, the mesh that goes to the top, whatever. That's how it's done. And then he's got some 3D gauntlets, which both look really nice. Some of my favorite details are actually the metallic black that you see running throughout not only the bottom of the torso, but also the waist piece. They all look really well, and I painted all of the armor in a metallic black just because I thought that it would pop a bit more than just doing black. And then also the head has a sculpted ring around the neck just to add a bit more detail. So yeah, that I guess is it for the Kenobi minifigures, and these three, I guess specifically the Grand Inquisitor, but these three figures as a whole. And he's got the lightsaber again, so that looks pretty nice. We'll go ahead and wrap up this showcase. Alright, that's going to be it for this video, everyone. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you've enjoyed it. If you have any thoughts or critiques, feel free to let me know what you think by writing a comment down below, or maybe you want to voice your own frustrations or tell me that you've enjoyed the show. Please go ahead. I'd love to hear from you guys. Even though the Star Wars content has been decent at best and disgusting at worst, I'm always going to be making figures for the films, games, and shows. I'm so excited to make figures from Jedi Survivor next year. I had so much fun with Fallen Order. It's one of my favorite pieces to come from modern Star Wars. I really mean that. I wish I had made some figures from the game, but instead I was doing other things in 2019, which I now regret. But yeah, you can look forward to that. I'll also be doing some Andor figures in August, the next live-action Star Wars series, and oh my, that's all I'm going to say for now. Anyway, follow me on my social media pages for more updates and announcements about what I'm doing next. Links are down below. As always, I'll see you next time, because I gotta go and either be disappointed by this finale or really happy. So we'll see what happens. Anyway, goodbye.